Donald Trump really doesn't want Judge Merchan to rap him on the knuckles and tell him what a bad criminal he's been at his sentencing on Friday. And now that Judge Merchan has rejected a stay request, arguing that the court does not have jurisdiction because Donald Trump is the president-elect and there's some sort of president-elect immunity, Donald Trump, right on cue, filed a lawsuit against and sued the Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg and the judge, Judge Merchan, under a unique aspect of New York law I'm going to explain to you here called Article 78. We got an Article 78 lawsuit, everybody, in lieu of an appeal. I'll tell you what it means, what I think is going to happen between now and Friday here on MeidasTouch and Legal AF. I'm Michael Popak, and I practice law in New York, and I sort of know my way around Article 78. Now, Article 78 is a unique way under our statutes in New York for a litigant to argue that, for instance, any kind of agency head or judge has stepped outside their jurisdiction and done something rogue or inappropriate. I don't think it really fits here. The courts in the past have rejected Donald Trump's prior Article 78s. He tried a similar tactic to stop the trial from starting in the hush money cover-up case, the 34 felony count case, because of immunity and other things. And the court at that time, the appellate court at that time said, yeah, why don't you do all that at the end, start your trial. And they started their trial, and they completed their trial, and he got convicted. All about matters that have nothing to do with him being president. I mean, the bulk and the key allegations of the conspiracy proven in front of the jury by the Manhattan DA about Stormy Daniels and the hush money cover-up affair was all before he was president. That was the purpose. He was trying to become president. So he wasn't president during the key conduct at the heart of the conspiracy. He wasn't president when he was indicted. He wasn't president when he was tried in front of a 12-person jury. He wasn't president when he was convicted, and he won't be president when he is sentenced. So this is not about immunity from prosecution or immunity, his conduct being immune. This is about a couple of stray pieces of evidence, a couple of pieces of testimony by some aides that worked for Donald Trump, and whether after he was president, that information should have gotten to the jury or not. It's a very discrete issue. It's a very arcane issue. It doesn't go to the heart of the immunity issue. It goes to the heart of whether certain of this information should have gone to the jury or whether it was harmless error that it did. So it's not an immunity discussion per se, although it does come out of the immunity decision. Well, Judge Merchan has already had not one, but two different motions to dismiss in front of him by Donald Trump. And he's rejected both efforts to have not the indictment dismissed. We're well past that. The conviction dismissed and overturned. No judge is going to overturn a 12-0 conviction by a jury, a hardworking jury, fair and impartial in New York or anywhere else. And so he said no the first time. No on the immunity grounds. You don't have a president-elect immunity. That's not a thing. And you already got convicted. We're not talking about you being immune from prosecution. The prosecution is effectively over. All the motion practice is over. All the briefs are done. Everything is done except for the sentencing. And that's going to be done before you're president. And they keep complaining on the Trump side. Oh, very critical, 75 days between the election and the inauguration. Donald Trump's got to focus completely on his presidential transition duties. Really? Because he seems to have a lot of time on his hands to try to go after Greenland, go after Canada, go after France, go after England, do mean tweets against judges and jurors and prosecutors. Seems to have a lot of time on his hands at Mar-a-Lago for dinner dances. So how much could this really be impairing his presidential election golf game? Okay, so we knew that Donald Trump was going to file this Article 78 lawsuit because he said he was yesterday. He said if the judge denied his most recent stay, and there was a second motion to dismiss that I glossed over, a motion under what we call the Clayton factors in New York, which says that for manifest injustice, a judge can overturn a jury verdict and throw it away. But none of the factors were laid out by Donald Trump because none of them apply. Then he filed, when he lost all that, and it was clear that the sentencing was going forward from last Friday to this coming Friday on the 10th of January, Donald Trump freaked out and filed another motion to stay, notice of stay, informing the court that it does not have jurisdiction, which is sort of a new argument. You don't have jurisdiction. I'm president-elect. There's immunity. I'm going to have more immunity when I get into office on the 20th. You don't have any jurisdiction. Stop acting. Stop subjecting me to Friday. Now, why? Some people might be wondering, why does he care? Why does Donald Trump care about the sentence when the sentencing process, which when the judge has already said he's not going to put him to jail because he doesn't want to be in front of this judge virtually or in person, where the judge is going to recite and recant all of the bad acts that Donald Trump did, all of the criminal conduct, all of the things that he did to try to undermine the judicial system, all of his contempt findings against him. There's 7 or 8 different contempt findings the judge has made, just reciting it all. The judge has already done a version of this in his order denying the most recent motion to dismiss, where he sort of looked like he was in a sentencing mode, talking about you never took responsibility, you did terrible things, you tried to undermine democracy, you tried to undermine the court system, and Trump doesn't want that right now. This is that hard rain falling on Donald Trump before the inauguration. He just wants to do a victory lap and get to the inauguration. And he doesn't want to be sentenced and be wrapped on the knuckles and be lashed by a judge in public. That's what he's fighting for. That's what we're watching. So they file this 40-page Article 78 lawsuit. Now it goes to the appellate court. First, it's the Intermediary Appellate Court in New York. I'm a member of this court. It's the Appellate Division, First Judicial Department, sits in Manhattan down on Madison Avenue. And there'll be a random group of 5 justices that'll get together and take a look at this. Now, he's filed these before, and they've all been unsuccessful. His argument here is no jurisdiction, no jurisdiction, no jurisdiction. The judge has made major mistakes in how he handled his case and how he let evidence in that he shouldn't have let in, immunity, immunity, immunity. And that's sort of the argument. And so the appellate division is going to have to they can make no ruling at all, okay? Even though there's a request for emergency relief here. This is what they want in their request to the court. They want a finding that there are any other actions taken against Donald Trump in the criminal prosecution pending an appeal, directing that the jury verdict be vacated against him, and such other relief. Now, I assume there's some sort of emergency application that they will or have made in which they're going to ask the court to stop Friday from happening, the day. No sentencing. And I think they're going to reject that. I could be wrong, and we'll see some other briefing because now the Manhattan DA is going to quickly respond to this. By the time I'm done with this hot take, they're going to have responded. I'll come back with another updated hot take. But so we may have full briefings, sort of, and then the next day, somebody's going to have to make a decision or no decision. Sometimes the court makes no decision or makes a decision by not acting. And what happens is it just goes forward on Friday. Now, one of the reasons that we want Friday to go forward is not just because of the special delight we'll take in watching Donald Trump squirm. It's also because it is the conclusion and the finality of the criminal justice system, the public justice system that we demand as participants in the public justice system. We're the public. We have a seat at the table. We want to know what happened. And he doesn't get his appeal, his real appeal, not this Article 78 lawsuit, until the final disposition. The final judgment is entered, including the sentencing. Then he can take his full appeal. He doesn't like all the evidence rulings that the judge made. He doesn't like the witnesses that got put on. He doesn't like Michael Cohen. Whatever. He can all whine about that in a full-blown appellate brief in front of the same court. But like this end run around with Article 78 without full briefing, without the sentence being in place, I think they just do nothing. That's one. I'm sort of inclined, if I were on the bench, to just let's do nothing. Let Friday happen. Now he's got a full appeal, Trump. And he's off and running on that. And if he doesn't like the results of that, he can take it up to the highest court in New York. If he doesn't like that, he can try an emergency application to the United States Supreme Court. I mean, you could tell by the way Merchan wrote his last major order. He thinks he may not be ever seeing Donald Trump again. There was a lot of sentencing-like vocabulary and sentence structure used by the judge, sort of already chastising Donald Trump in advance just in case he doesn't get his turn. We'll see. So I think no ruling by the Article 78 panel at the appellate court. If I'm wrong, I'll come back and tell you I was wrong. They could rule, all right, well, let's just put a temporary stay on Friday, allow for full briefing, and we'll get back to you guys in the next week or two. They could do that. But look, they have eyes too. They're human beings. They know there's a January 20th inauguration, and this gets a lot harder once the guy is president. I think they're going to try to act in this interstitial period, right? This remaining 12 days or so. I think they understand that is the timeline here, and they need to act like they have their hair on fire. we have our hair on fire here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. So follow me here. Come back to me here. We'll give you the updates. And over on Legal AF, the YouTube channel, Legal AF MTN, now's a great time to come over and help us build that pro-democracy channel that I do in collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network. Popak Live, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. right here on the MeidasTouch Network. I take questions. I give answers. I don't take any prisoners. And I'm going to update you on everything that I know by the end of the day right there, Popak Live, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popak. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.